Hello dear students, I hope you're all doing well and you had a wonderful weekend. In this video, I will show you the correct answers for the numeracy assignment last week on fractions. Okay, here we have question number one. Question number one provided us with a wall, a fraction wall, and then it asks us to use that fraction wall to answer the questions. A says, what is the equivalent fraction for 1 out of 2 or a half? Here, because we have a half here, so we just write half of 6. What is half of 6? 3. So in this case, we write 1 out of 2 equals to 3 out of 6. Now this is the correct way to write it, please. Some of you just wrote the first number like this, which is very, very wrong. So you should write them like that in a fraction manner because they are not normal numbers, they are fractions. B, again we have half here, the equivalent fraction for half, and we have 12 as a clue. What is half of 12? 6. Then we have 6 out of 12. Okay, C, 1/3. We need to find the equivalent fraction for 1/3. Okay, so we have 6 as the denominator of the other fraction. What number, if we multiply it by 3, we get 6? Very good, we get 2. So as we said, we need to do the same thing to the numerator and the denominator. Whatever we are doing to the top, we should do it to the bottom as well. So 2 times 1 equals 2, and 2 times 3 equals 6, yeah? So because we already have 6, we just multiply 2 by 1 and we get 2. So 1/3 equals to 2 6. Okay, for D, we need to find the equivalent fraction for 2/3, and we have 12. Again, 12 is bigger than 3, so we need to multiply, but by what number? If we multiply 3 by which number we get 12? So we multiply both top and bottom by 4. So 4 times 2, 8, and 4 times 3, 12. So 2, 3, equals to 4 out of 12. And then we have D, 3 out of 4. Again, we have 12 here. Now, 12 is bigger. We should multiply 4 by a number that equals 12. Yeah? So that number is 3. If we multiply 3 with 4, we get 12. And so that's why we have 3 out of 4 equal to 3 times 3, 9. 9 out of 12. Okay, then we have 5 out of 6. Again, we have 12 as a clue. So we should find a number that we multiply both 5 and 6. What number, if we multiply 6 by, we get 12? You guessed it, 2. So we multiply both 5 and 6 with 2. 2 times, let's say 5 out of 6 equals 2. 2 times 5, 10. And then we already have the 12. Let's move on to question 2. Here, question 2 says, find 4 pairs of equivalent fractions on the grid. Which fraction is left over? We have a leftover here as well. And one thing else, a pair means 2 fractions. So we need to find 2 fractions that are equal to each other, and then we have 1 pair. Yeah? So let's start. Let's start with the easiest one. We have a half here, yeah? 1 out of 2 or a half. Okay, in these other fractions, what is another fraction that's a half? It is 5 out of 10, yeah? Because if we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 5, we get 5 out of 10. So here our first pair is 1 out of 2 equals to 5 out of 10. We will start with the smaller fractions because they are easier to deal with, okay? And here we have 3 out of 10. Yeah, this is a very small fraction as well. Okay, 3 out of 10. What do you think is the equivalent for 3 out of 10? Here we have 30 out of 100, yeah? If we multiply both 3 and 10 by 10, we get 30 out of 100, so they are equivalent to each other. 3 out of 10 equals to 30 out of 100. Okay, pair number 3. After that, we have another small fraction, 4 out of 5. Okay, 4 out of 5. This gets a bit tricky. We need to find out another fraction that is both a multiple of 4 and a multiple of 5. Now, can we write 7 out of 10 with it? No, because we don't have any number. If we multiply it with 4, that we get 7. Can we say it's 35 out of 50? No, because again, we don't have any number that if we multiply it with 4, we get 35. Yeah? Can we say 4 out of 10? So here 4 is a multiple of 4 and 10 is a multiple of 5. But the question is we need to multiply the numerator and the denominator with the same number, yeah? So we have 10 here, so we must multiply 5 and 4 by 2. Now if we multiply 4 by 2, we get 8, and that's not the correct number, yeah? So the equivalent fraction, let's try 8. We tried all the other possibilities. Let's try 8 out of 10. Now, if we multiply 5 by 2, we get 10. And if we multiply 4 by 2, we get 8. So this is the equivalent fraction for 4 out of 8. So here we say 4 out of 5 equals to 8 out of 10. So now we've done 8 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 5, 1 out of 2, 5 out of 10, and 30 out of 10. How many fractions do we have left? Only 3. 35 out of 50, 7 out of 10, and 4 out of 10. Now let's put them to a test. As we discussed earlier, that 35 and 4, they are not multiples of each other. So there is no number that we can multiply 4 with, we get 35. But 35 and 7, they are equivalent of each other, yeah? Also 50 and 10, they are equivalent of each other. Let's see, we have 10 here and we have 50 here. If we multiply 10 by 5, we get 50. And if we multiply 7 by 5, we get 35. So these two numbers are equivalent to each other. So the last pair we have is 7 out of 10 equals to 25 out of 50. And the leftover number, is 4 out of 10 because we don't have any equivalent fraction for that. Okay, let's go to question number 3. For question number 3, we need to finish the sequences. In finding sequences, the most important part is the first fraction we have, because it's a full fraction and it's the base for the entire sequence, yeah? We have 3 out of 4 in A as a complete fraction and 2 out of 3 in B as a complete fraction. So we will refer everything we do to this particular fraction over here. Now, what number do we multiply 4 by that we get 8? It is 2. So we both multiply 3 and 4 by 2. 3 times 2, 6, and 3 times 4, it's 8. So here we say it's 3 out of 4 equals to 6 out of 8. Then equal. Okay. And then we have 9 out of we need to find out this number. What number, if we multiply it by 3, we get 9? You guessed it, it's 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 4 is 12. So this number is 12. We have 9 out of 12 equals. So what number, if we multiply it by 4, we get 16? It is 4. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 4 is 16. So we have 12 out of 16 here. Then we have 15. What number, if we multiply it by 3, we get 15? It is 5. So we multiply both 3 and 4 by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. And 5 times 4 is 20. We should multiply 4 by a number that we get 24, and that number is 6. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 6 times 4 is 24. That way, this first sequence we have is finished. Now let's move on to B. We have 2 out of 3 here. So our first fraction in the sequence is a fraction that its denominator is 6. So what number do we multiply with 3 that we get 6? 2. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. So this number right here on the top of the fraction, the numerator is 4. Here we have 4 out of 6 equals. Okay, we have 6 on the numerator now. So 2 times 3 equals 6. So we have to do the same thing for the denominator, 3 times 3. So we have 6 out of 9. All right. We have 12 here. If we multiply 3 by which number we get 12? It's 4. So we both multiply 2 and 3 with 4. 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 4 is 12. So we have 8 out of 12. Now 10. Which number we multiply by 2, we get 10? 5. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times 3 is 15. So we get 10 out of 50. All right, we have 18. Now, which number, if we multiply it with 3, we get 18? You guessed it, it's 6. So 6 times 2 is 12. This number is 12, and 6 times 3 is 18. We already have 18. Now 14. We should multiply 2 with a number that we get 14. That number is 7. So 7 times 2, 14, and 7 times 3 is 21. And then we have 24. We should multiply 3 with a number that we get 24. That number is 8. So 2 times 8 equals 16 out of, and 8 times 3 is 24. Okay guys, that's all the correct questions for the numeracy assignment for last week. If you didn't understand anything, please let me know in the comments.